Okay, good evening, everybody. I'd like to call the meeting to order. Please, let's say the pledge. I pledge allegiance
to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible,
with liberty and justice for all.
I thought we could take a moment for silent reflection and think about everything that's been going on, people in our community, in our state, in our nation, and just take a few minutes silent meditation. A few seconds, actually. Okay. Roll call and quorum check, please.
Mr. Rashka.
Here.
Mr. Schaefer.
Here.
Mrs. Kierkowski.
Here.
Mrs. Dubar.
Present.
Mrs. Wilson.
Here.
And Mr. Wygan.
Here.
Thank
you. Can I have an approval of the board meeting minutes from 5/5/20 and the budget meeting from 5/12/20, please? I have a motion by Ed. Can you
I'll make a motion, Ed Schaefer. I'm sorry.
That's okay. Thank you.
Second, Heather Dubard.
Okay, I have a motion by Mr. Schaefer and a second by Mrs. Dubard. All in favor?
Aye. Aye.
Any opposed? Carried. Board trustee reports. I guess I would just like to ask, does anybody have anything?
No, I do not.
No. Carol?
Carol does.
I went to the Teacher Appreciation Union East Parade. So I was able to get over there and see the turnout. It was great to see the community come out and support all the staff. And it's just, they decorated their cars and everybody was driving through, and some of the teachers had signs for their students. Some of the students had signs for their teachers. It was just really nice. It was great to see the support.
Okay, thank you. Anybody else? Okay, then we're going to move along. Do we have administrative updates? Or are we, okay, so who wants to, Maureen, you're going first, right? Learning during COVID-19, please.
Okay, but
yes,
my presentation is about the target, the district designation as a targeted district and the school improvement plans. We never had the opportunity to provide information to the Board of Education about the process, and need to do that as we're beginning the process. So not quite as exciting as learning, but I'm happy to share. And here we are. So I want to thank you for the opportunity to share with you something other than COVID-19 information. It has been awesome the last few weeks hearing about all the great things that our district is doing, and I am as proud as you with our response, our collective response to COVID-19. It's been a challenging time, but definitely Cheektowaga Central has raised, we've met that challenge. My presentation today will provide information about the district's response and plans to address our current accountability status as a target district. We have 2 schools who are identified as target schools in need of support and improvement, referred to as TSI schools. To frame this presentation, it's important to share some of the changes and measures of school and district performance in New York State. In December 2015, Every Student Succeeds Act, ESSA, became the main law for K-12 public education. No Child Left Behind was out. This law went into effect for the 17-18 school year. ESSA is a very complex law. I don't intend to get very much into the weeds about it, but its main purpose is to make sure public schools provide a quality education for all students. Fundamentally, ESSA is about creating a set of interlocking strategies to promote educational equity. It is ensuring that all students succeed and thrive in school no matter where they go to school, where they're from, where they came from, or where they live. Under ESSA, there's a greater focus on providing strategies for supporting professional growth of educators, increased fiscal transparency in schools, and more importantly, access to a well-rounded, culturally responsive education that supports students' academic and social emotional development. And of course, access to a more rigorous high school coursework. In response to ESSA, the New York State Department of Education established a new set of indicators to measure school performance. The indicators have a much stronger focus on student growth and school progress. And while assessments are an important part, school accountability is based on a much more complex look at how schools perform. The indicators are on the screen, and they are student achievement, student academic achievement, which is for all schools, and that's the composite performance index, which measures achievement on state assessments in ELA, math and science, and for high school social studies. Student growth, which is for elementary and middle school, ELA and math results, grades 4 through 8. Academic progress for all schools, and that's based on ELA and math against long-term goals. English language proficiency for all schools, which measures the progress of English language learners. Chronic absenteeism for all schools, measuring the percentage of students who miss 10% or more of the school year. And then for high school specifically, the graduation rate and college, career, and civic readiness. For each of these indicators, every school earns a score of 1 to 4. 1 is the lowest, 4 is the highest. Schools get a score for all students and for student subgroups such as members of racial and ethnic groups, low-income students, students with disabilities, and English language learners. A school can be identified as TSI if one or more student subgroups performs at a level 1 on a combination of new indicators. If the school has been in good standing, then it takes 2 years of low performance before the school becomes TSI. In November, the ESSA accountability report showed that Union East Elementary and Cheektowaga Middle School moved from schools in good standing to schools in need of targeted support and improvement. The high school maintained its good standing status. Congratulations. Data from the school years to 17-18 and 18-19 identified the subgroups in those schools that scored at a level 1 for student academic achievement, student growth, and chronic absenteeism. The district was identified as a target district in part because we have 2 schools identified in need of improvement. Day orientation that was intensive training and support to help us with the process of engaging state comprehensive review of identifying, as the New York State Department of Education's vision states, specific solutions that address specific challenges. The process for developing the improvement plans was created to ensure that school districts engage in honest and thoughtful reflection about internal barriers and challenges that exist so that strategies to address the challenges can be developed. Our work will be guided by the Diagnostic Tool for School and District Effectiveness, DTSDE framework, which outlines effective practices organized along the 6 DTSDE tenets. By the way, there is a quiz at the end of this. The tenets include systems and organization, school leadership, curriculum, instruction, social, emotional learning, and family and community engagement. The framework is a reference tool to assist us in examining the practices and engaging in reflective dialogue to improve practice. In February, NYSED outlined the 3-year improvement cycle and set parameters for the school improvement grant that was awarded to fund our work. In year 1, our district will work with outside consultants who will support the needs assessment and various tasks required in the development of the plans. In years 2 and 3, the funding supports plan implementation, annual plan updates, surveys, and most importantly, it will fund the evidence-based interventions that are required. The state has already adjusted this outline of time slightly and will continue to do so as things progress with COVID-19 and extended school closure and the reopening of school in the fall, whatever that will look like. This timeline was created 2 weeks after we participated in the training. It outlines the School Comprehensive Education Plan, the SEP, and the District Comprehensive Improvement Plan, the DCEP, the timeline that was created to complete all of the tasks. Although the timeline of dates is no longer relevant due to our extended closure, this graphic represents all of the activities that are required for the district and schools. NYSED continues to modify the requirements and deadlines, and they realize that we face challenges in completing surveys, site visits, classroom visits. They delayed the School Comprehensive Education Plan work until the fall, but we are required to begin the District Comprehensive Improvement Plan work now. It is due to the state July 31st. That timeline is shattered. So the District Comprehensive Improvement Plan process is outlined here. Along with our consultant, the district leadership team began this process last Friday, and we will complete the tasks listed through July 15th and 16th when we come together to write the plan. As a district, we have chosen to write our plan to focus on improvement and supports for all students, regardless of the specific subgroups that led to the accountability status designation. We have other subgroups that are on the cusp of being identified and see the importance of improving instruction for all students. They will benefit from this work. Schools will closely monitor the data for specific subgroups to ensure they're making the growth needed to remove us from TSI status. It is important to note that we are on this now for the next 3 years. It won't change despite our progress. The School Comprehensive Education there will be a very comprehensive needs assessment completed. We need to look at the data from the school, including the results of the comprehensive needs assessment. And we have to identify initiatives that will be implemented to positively affect student learning. And we need to have at least one evidence-based intervention that we will select from a list that New York State provides. Finally, continuous improvement is an ongoing effort. Improvement overall is hard work, whether that's in education or in our own personal goals. But we have to look at this as an opportunity of growth. We will have the opportunity to increase awareness of areas of need in the district, increase dialogue about school culture and climate, analyzing data to inform policy and improvement, and establish maximum participation among stakeholder groups. It's important to realize that everybody has a voice and needs to contribute to this process. And ultimately, we want to increase student achievement. That's our goal. All right, that's it. Thank you. So that is just a very brief overview of all of the work that we need to do. The state has provided detailed expectations, plans, plan templates, surveys, inventories, a lot of documents that will need to be completed both for the district plan and for the school plan. And we have a plan with an outside consultant who is supporting us in this work. She has supported a lot of schools in New York State and is very familiar with the process. And at some point, we will have the opportunity to meet her and her team. Thank you. Does anybody have any questions?
Well, sounds like you have your work cut out for you.
Yes, we do.
Oh,
Maureen,
Yes,
is there a possibility that your presentation could you, either send it to me can you send it to me? Would you be able to do that? Email it to me?
Sure.
And the other thing is, on the committees or the groups, will you have a board member, or is that too close?
It was recommended that a board member not be a part of the process as they
Okay.
review the district plan.
Right,
They also have to approve the school building plans.
okay, that's what I kind of thought. And no matter what our changes, our improvements, or that 3 years, right?
It does. And
Okay.
in fact, we have other indicators, subgroups for some of the indicators that are currently at a level 1.
Right,
And should they be at a level 1 again, and I don't believe right now that there is any accountability for 1920, but if there is another level 1, we could add additional indicators, and the schools would also move into a different status.
okay. Thank you very much for that. It's very informative.
Sorry, it
I
wasn't very
appreciate it. I appreciate it. I know how hard you're working, and I appreciate it. Mrs. Supdalek, you're up next with pupil services during COVID-19. Everybody make sure your microphone's muted, please. Thank you. Thank you, Mrs. George.
Okay, good evening, everybody. And Maureen, thank you for that. That's not an easy task to go through that. So we're all on board and warrior strong. I guess I would add that. So my presentation today is really wrapped up in the conversation of positive mental health. And Mary asked if we would present tonight and talk a little bit about what we are doing during this COVID-19 crisis. And our district initiative number 2, the whole child, has been a focal point for our teams all year long. But no other time during this school year, at no other time, has this been more important than the time we're living in right now. So I had sent you prior to the meeting tonight the 3 videos that we had intended to show this evening. But Mary and I did a test drive earlier today, and it was difficult to hear the videos being played on the opposite end. So I would invite all of you to open those up at your leisure following the evening tonight and just really enjoy what you're seeing. And especially in the middle school video, the humorous nature by which they approached it, I think is wonderful. You can clearly see in the middle, the high school, and the elementary, where our building level administrators are key leaders in making this message about positive mental health really stick within our district. I think that's one of the highlights that we have in the Cheektowaga Central School District, that we care about our families, we care about our students, and we care about our staff very deeply. And so that message about remaining positive in this time of crisis, there's no better time than now to view what you're going to see later tonight. So I'm going to share my screen. Hopefully, Steve, I've done this right. Hang on. Okay. All right, so again, we had intended to show you a video tonight, but we're going to leave that to all of you to enjoy it. And I'm going to go ahead with our conversation about our district priority number 2. So you can see here that why are we talking about mental health education from the beginning of the school year, and even if you look at our conversation with you at the end of the school year last year, mental health is a critical part of a person's overall well-being. It affects our ability to think and learn, our feelings and actions, and can interfere with healthy decision making. Clearly, we want to stay focused. We want to stay on top of what we're doing, and keeping our kids positive and focused will help us to get through this crisis that we are currently experiencing. When the crisis occurred, actually prior to that, we had been talking about, you know, what do we need to do as more and more information came forward with regard to what was then being called COVID-19 or the coronavirus. And so we came up with these bullet points to discuss and to share and to work through as we continued with our planning. So rather than read them to you, you can see them on the screen. A key component is right here, the third bullet point, which is to support and assist our staff in managing stress, anxiety, and self-care. One of the key pieces in all of this is making sure and ensuring that our staff are able to manage and work with the students that are tasked to them on their class rosters. And certainly being that front line of defense and support for our families, because as they interact with students, they are interacting with our parents. And what has come out more and more every time I speak with the mental health team is that our families are reaching out to them and saying, I need support in learning to cope with this. What do I need to do? How can you help me? Our staff, our students, and their families, I would say around the clock. There are several of our mental health team members that are talking to staff members in the wee hours of the morning because they are just struggling to cope. Many of them have been directed to an outside resource or to an agency. There are individual and group counseling sessions that are going on all across the board, not only with our own team, but with those agencies and resources that I've mentioned. We've included on the website also places where families can contact those agencies and those other resources, some of which have been made available by the New York State Department of Health, the Mental Health Board, and so on. So our goal here is to help to create that positive learning environment through mental health education, not only in school, but now in this area of remote learning in the home. And how do we keep that positivity going? So these are the 4 components that New York State identified that we must have in terms of that positive mental health education. And these are the 4 that we spoke about at the end of the year last year. And they have been key in our planning this year, not only for this COVID crisis, but prior to that and throughout as we are developing further our comprehensive district counseling plan. This is when the new state regulations and requirements came into play with regard to mental health. Just a reminder that we have been at this consistently, the Cheektowaga Central School District, for well over 10 years, but this is when the state put these pieces into place. Now, the most important part, these are 3 slides that I just threw together that outline not only who our team members are, but also some of the kinds of things that have been going on with regard to the COVID-19 crisis. And all of these things, by the way, you will hear and see through the watching or the viewing of those videos. So all of our team members are on the left, and I really think it's important to say their name. Although I did have an error here, it is not Lauren Smith, it's Lauren Moeller. So forgive me for that. Lori Ferry is at the top of the list, and an announcement. Lori was not able to be part of the video because she recently had a new addition in her family, and Colt Ferry made his way into the world last week. So congratulations to Lori. She is a key component in our mental health team in the high school. Lauren Moeller, Claudia Rodams, Ruben Owens, Courtney Wall, Joan Conti, and Katie Boutot goes between the high school and the middle school as the school psychologist. So we're very proud of this team. They communicate constantly, individual group sessions. They each are operating out of Google Classroom, offering 2 to 3 minute videos, weekly motivational messages. I love this one, such as Mindfulness Mondays. That is designed to help reduce stress and anxiety for our kiddos. They are in constant connection with kids. They came up with the signs for seniors that you see on lawns across Western New York, helping to celebrate our 2020 graduates and give them a little bit of normalcy. And believe me, that has gone a long way with our families and our students in terms of their pride in Cheektowaga Central. Again, supported by our administrative team at the high school. None of this is possible without the help of Scott, Mike, Brian, and Pat Cullinan. So they are really helping to connect our community and keep us alive and thinking and working together and staying positive. The food pantry, crisis services, staff professional development, webinars, and more. It's just been an incredible journey that the high school team has put together for our families. The middle school mental health team, and again, I draw you to the video. Make sure to watch it later. The ending of the middle school video is particularly hilarious. You will love it. I believe Mr. Hanford does a jumping split of some sort, so you'll have some fun watching that. Our team at the middle school, Nancy Keene, Melissa Gock, Kim Nichols, Lauren Smith, and again, there's Katie Butadas, the school psychologist. Jean Kornowitz also goes in and out with the high school, but that is the makeup of our team in the middle level. So their focus has been on changing the negative to the positive during the time of crisis, beginning to appreciate more those around us. And that is kind of the message and the flavor for all that they are doing. Again, individual counseling, group counseling they've been able to do online. They are trying to find the humor in the things that we are doing. Keeping the smile on our kids' faces. Very difficult with our middle school kids who sometimes are more involved with drama with one another. They have been reaching out. They have been seeking help. They have been saying, I need you. And that's a powerful message, especially for kids this age. Again, I look at the administrative team there that has supported the mental health team so much in order to make these things happen. Nancy described to me earlier today that they were doing what's called the 2-1-1, the ability to get resources such as food, clothing, whatever is needed, whatever the families need, they are there. There's student surveys that they're using to determine those needs are key to the success of what's happening in the middle school. Again, using Google Classroom, the counselors have designed and devised activities for students, many based on that positive mindset, mindfulness, healthy living, social skill development, particularly with our functional setting at the middle school, our students with special needs. They're using yoga. Part of the video you'll watch, you'll see one of the counselors dressed in a really funky getup and doing yoga with the students. It's really, really something. So you can see that all of those things, all those pieces together, any way to gain that student attention and to keep them engaged. The administrative team are doing weekly TikTok messages, and that speaks to the last part of the video again. The motivation, in their words, has been reborn in the middle school with a new sense of collaboration, communication, and their weekly PPS meetings. And so finally, the Union East, another typo, Mrs. Sudulek. The Union East video is really special. You'll see all of their providers talking there about the roles that they have played in the development of that positive mindset during this time. IEP counseling, 504 counseling has been a real focus with our school counselors at the Union East. Maria Kachowski and Bernie Huber are our school social workers. Maura Find and Sarah Kachowski are the school counselors. And of course, Allison Napier is the school psychologist. Individual small group counseling, you can see the list of other things that they are doing. One of the exciting things that I was able to witness is their virtual calm down corner. Very interesting online feature that our counselors put together. And you'll see little avatars that imitate the team itself. So there's one for Maria, there's one for Bernie. It's really a cute thing, designed again to engage and ignite the interest of our students. What was also special with Union East is recently they started their first evening. It's a parent group designed to support them and to assist them with the stress during this time. I think that is a really powerful message and a statement about the not only the Union East community, but of course the Cheektowaga Central community. Again, that idea of embracing everyone, all of our families, our students and our staff, but particularly our parents who are at home for the first time in many years. Not only are they parents, they are teachers, they are the support system, they are working from home, they're doing all of those things that a few months ago we thought to be impossible. And so they are really, really needing our support, particularly in the homes of the families that have young kids. I can tell you at the end of this week, we will have done 400 plus CSE meetings. And in every single one of those meetings, we start by thanking our parents for being our partners. And overwhelmingly, the message back from our families is no, thank you. If it wasn't for the school, I don't know what I would do. I'm on my last nerve. How can I get through this? How can you help me? And they remark about our teachers. They remark about the mental health team. They remark about our school district. And it's an emotional moment for me to hear those things. And I hope it is for you as well. So very proud, exceptionally proud of our mental health team this evening. And I wish you could have them all here and they could be speaking to you in person. These are some of the other strategies and other areas that we have worked on throughout the year. They are things that you've heard me talk about before, but nonetheless, in this environment, they are ongoing. And so that sort of concludes my message to you today. And I say sort of because I could go on and on and on, but you have other business to do, and I do appreciate everything that you do to support our team, not only today, but every day and throughout the year. We're very proud of our resilient parents, our resilient staff, and of course, our very wonderful and resilient students. So, thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Suktalak. Can you do the same thing? Could you send me your presentation? Is that possible for you
Yes.
to send me?
Absolutely.
I was able to open up the video and start watching them when you sent it, and it's pretty amazing. You know, as an adult going through this, it's very stressful. So I'm so grateful that we have such a good mental health team. And I'm proud of the fact that our school does what it does. I would like to say, you know, just at the level of the kids that are graduating from high school, a parent started that Adopt a Senior. I am involved in that, and it's been rewarding for me in the fact that, you know, when you do something small for somebody that is going through a hard time and they're beaming with bright eyes and a smile, and then they start to cry because they're so appreciative of just that small thing you did. It's pretty amazing. And like you're emotional about it, I'm emotional too, because this thing has touched our school community in so many different ways. You know, I was in Eden and I was walking down this street with a client, and I looked to my right, and there was a sign, and it said, home of a Cheektowaga Central teacher. And when I saw it, I literally stopped dead in my tracks. And I was like, oh my gosh, like it made me so happy. And I was proud, you know, and I said, oh, one of my teachers lives here. And they're really working hard, and everybody's really working hard. And I know, you know, we all know as board members what we're going through in our own personal families. And I'm thrilled and thankful that our parents have our Cheektowaga community to reach out to. Our mental health team, teachers, principals, you know, it really means the world to these families, and I'm grateful and I'm very proud. And thank you very much for a wonderful presentation. Mrs. George and Mrs. Suktalak, you did a great job. And I know how hard you're working, and I appreciate it. And if I could hug you, I'm hugging you. And thank you very much for this tonight. I appreciate it. Anybody have any questions for them?
You're welcome.
No? Okay, thank you, ladies. We'll move on. So citizens open forum, there is no one here to address the board, no attorney's report for tonight. So we're going to our superintendent's report. Mrs. Morris?
Again, thank you, ladies. I appreciate your reports tonight. They were wonderful. Okay, first order of business is is just to let you know there's a leave of absence. That's a notice. You don't have to act, but you do have to appoint the substitute teacher for the science teacher that's on leave. And that's Dana. He's going to be continuing in that position till June 19th.
Okay, could I have a motion to appoint the substitute teacher to that position? Dana.
I'll make a motion.
Andrews, right?
Carol,
And a second, please.
I'll second, Heather.
Okay, so I have a motion by Ms. Karapolsky and a second by Mrs. Dubard. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Carried.
Okay, and I recommend your approval for the following bids and quotes for purchases exceeding $5,000, and that's Premcom Corporation for the electrical work on the smart bit bond.
Could I have a motion? I'm sorry. Could I have a motion, please, for that?
I'll make the motion, Heather Dubard.
I'll second the motion, Renee Wilson. Motion by Mrs. Dubard, second by Mrs. Wilson. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Carried.
Okay, I'm now going to turn it over to Kate for the budget, or do we just need to adopt it?
Just need to adopt it.
Okay. So
Okay.
your approval is recommended for the 2021 proposed budget. In
Okay,
the amount
so-
of,
Does
Go ahead.
anybody have any, is it, we need the amount in there, right?
$47,200,000.
Does anybody have any questions about the budget vote, or about the budget?
No.
No? Okay, can I have, a motion to adopt the budget of $47,272,614, please?
I'll make the motion, Heather Dubard.
I'll second it, Thomas Raska.
I have a motion by Mrs. Dubard, a second by Mr. Raska. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Carried. Thank you, Caitlin, for all your hard work. I appreciate it. And everybody. Okay, Mrs. Morris, do you have anything else?
No, that's it. Executive session.
Okay. Could I have a motion, please, to go into executive session to discuss the employment of a particular person?
I'll make the motion, Heather Dubard.
I'll
I have a
second
motion
it,
by Mrs. Dubard, a
Alright, Carol.
second by
Thomas Raska.
Mr. Raska. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Carried. Have a good night. I'll see you
Bye,
soon.
guys.
Stay safe and well.
Caitlin, we're not gonna get to see those twins?
Motion by Mr. Reska, a second by Mrs. Wilson. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Carried. The meeting is adjourned. Thank you, everybody. Have a good night.
Thank you.
You.